Thank you for viewing this tutorial video on ETNG Next Generation Drawing Tools. The objectives of this video are as follows. Why use the drawing tools? What tools are in the drawing tool palette? How might drawing tools be used for instruction? You may use the pen, highlighter, eraser, shape, and line tools to create custom lessons with cues to support visual learners. When students use these tools in a hands-on manner at the Eno board, you engage them kinesthetically too. As a teacher, you can easily save your lessons to add on to or modify later. Drawing tools can be used for instruction or engagement across all grade levels and subject areas. I'll feature a few instructional applications in this video, but think personally how the tools could support and supplement the curriculum you teach. To open the ETNG drawing tools, click on the paintbrush in the primary toolbar. I should point out that I am using ETNG Next Generation version 1.5 on a Windows operating system. If your secondary drawing toolbar looks slightly different, you may be using an older version or a different operating system. Make note of the color picker in the primary toolbar as well. This is how you can change the color of different text items and drawn lines. This helpful visual defining the tools in the drawing toolbar is available in the ETNG Next Generation Resources section of our bringlearningtolife.ning.com tools area. Or you may consult the Drawing Tools section of the User's Guide under the E menu in the Help area. Pen and highlighter tools are represented by the first two icons in the Drawing Tools strip. These may be used easily by the teacher or students to create visual support cues, draw diagrams, highlight key content, or many other ways. Pen and highlighter marks can be layered on top of objects, such as maps, pictures, diagrams, and even text boxes, as you see here. I've selected the highlighter tool, and now I'm going to select the appropriate line width to match the font height of the text area that I'll be highlighting. The ink tool is less opaque. The width of the line is also controlled by the width menu indicator. You'll notice each time you pick up your pen, a new ink line is drawn. These represent separate items when you change to the Select tool. You can use the Marquee tool to group these items together when you need to move a drawing or change a color. Using the color picker, select Border Color and choose a new color. You may also change the line width and opacity scale within the color picker. Before exiting the color picker, make sure you accept the color choices. The eraser tool in ETNG Drawing Tools only works on top of pen ink and highlighter. You may adjust the width of the eraser using the Line Select tool. To erase multiple marks on a page, use the Marquee tool to draw a square around the items you wish to delete. Then click on the trash can. The Undo button is always available if you make a mistake. The steps for revising or changing ink strokes are quite easy. Simply choose a pen color and width, draw a doodle to practice, and then use the Select tool to get the bounding boxes or handles around your item. These can be used to stretch or shrink your drawn item, as well as rotate. To change the color, line width, and opacity, go to the color picker, make sure that you're in the border color area, and choose a new color, line width, or opaqueness of your drawing. Again, be sure to apply your color choices. The third icon in the drawing tools represents the distometer tool. This is new in version 1.5. The distometer tool measures the distance of a line. So you could use this instructionally, for example, to measure comparative distances on a map. The number is represented by the scale of the drawing which you have created an ink mark over. This could be used as an instructional tool for map skills, measurement, distance, or even comparing the length of a path in a maze. If you want to modify the unit or the number within the distometer box, simply double-click and type a new figure. When you click away from the box, other lines that have been measured by the distometer will be updated to reflect those units. We've covered the eraser tool. Remember, eraser only works to eliminate pen, ink, and highlighter. We'll review the fill tool momentarily, but let's take a look at the shape recognition tool. If your shape recognition tool is grayed out, it may not be available within the operating system that you're working on, but here, if I draw an imperfect triangle, you'll notice when I close in the figure, ETNG's drawing tools converts it to a smooth-edged shape. You can choose the color picker before or after drawing the shape. Just make sure that you're in the border color area, not the fill. In this case, I have a filled circle because if you look at my color picker, my border color is blue and my fill color is also blue. You can change the fill color or the border from the color picker. So you'll want to practice a little bit changing the border color and the fill of drawn objects just so you become more comfortable and familiar with it. Recall that the eraser tool will not work to erase these shapes, so if you wanted to eliminate them, you'll need to switch to select mode, draw a marquee around the shape or shapes that you wish to get rid of, and then click the trash can. Another shape option is to use the pre-built shapes in the menu item and recall that the border can be made smaller by selecting the shape and then choosing the line thickness option. If you'd like to add text to a shape, you have that option under the accelerator menu, Add Edit Text. Another instructional way you may consider using the shape tools is to select a shape that has angles and then reveal the internal angles of the selected object. When you stretch or condense the object, you'll see that the angles change as you move the bounding boxes. As an instructor, you could cover up one of the angles and have students solve for what the missing angle is. Just using my ink tools, I can shade what that particular angle is. Another instructional option may be to have students use the distance property that show the dimensions of the selected object. Again, you can change the unit, number, and label of this object and create word problems for students to solve using those figures. Take a look at the right-hand side of the secondary toolbar. This displays the general object properties that can be applied to drawn shapes and figures. Just to review what those are, you have the ability to lock or unlock a selected object, so students couldn't move it or could only move it horizontally or vertically. This is great if you want to have students draw or label over the top of an object. Lock it in place and then they won't accidentally move it around. If you have multiple objects, you have the ability to group. Just draw a marquee around a couple of my objects. And then you'll notice the grouping option is now indicated or available. So you can group those two items together and they'll move around. You also have the alignment options, so if you want two items to be lined up on the left-hand side of the panel, in the center, or on the right-hand selection area. Ordering objects is what's going to allow you to move things forward and backwards, very helpful for layering projects. This is your reflection tool, so you can flip items vertically and create a copy. The undo button takes away what you don't want. And the final two options are for duplicating and controlling the opaqueness of a drawing. So here I've created an exact copy, and then I can use the slider scale to make it more or less see-through. So you want to play around with those tools and think about how you might apply them to what you're trying to accomplish instructionally with your students. Just a couple more drawing tools here. We've got the line tools. That allows you to draw solid, arrow-headed lines, curved lines, elbow lines, and the color and the width are determined by what you have selected here before you start drawing the line, or you can always select the item and then make a change to the width and the color using the color picker. You can use your rotate tool. So these line tools are excellent for teachers who are working with students on graphing. I'll show you how to bring in a background page here in just a moment so you can have grid paper on the back, and then students could plot points with the ink tool and draw lines to connect those plot points. Linking lines, that will allow you to connect two objects. So when you move them around, if I want to create a linking line between these two objects, when I move them, the line will remain between those two. So I'd like to share with you an application for how you might consider using the drawing tools as a layered object for a comprehension or for a review activity. In this case, I've brought in some text boxes. I've copied the content and pasted it in place on my background. I've used the lock option so students can't accidentally move the content around. And I would then instruct them to choose a line tool to indicate what they think the matching definitions are. And I'm going to get a couple of them wrong purposefully. After the small group or the individual, if we're doing this as a whole class activity, has indicated what they think the correct answer is, you can switch to the eraser tool. And as a teacher, I've drawn ink marks underneath these text boxes and then colored over them with white pen ink. So I've created layering. When the student switches to a wide swatch eraser and sweeps over the area, it takes away the white pen ink that I drew, and they can see what the correct answers are. So just one idea. And if this seems like it might be time consuming or labor intensive, what you can do is after you have created one of the slides, you can copy it and paste it and then just go in and change the text. So let me show you how you create a duplicate of a page. That's going to be in your storyboard mode. So if I click on the actual page number, go to storyboard, you'll notice these little icons underneath the pages. I'm highlighted or selected on the page I want to copy. So I'm simply going to click on the copy option and then the paint option. And now I have the same page twice. I can double click on the page I want to edit and just using my select tool go in and change the terms. Since I locked them into place, I will need to unlock them before I start retyping. But there's one application or one way of using the inking tools, particularly the eraser tool, to create a reveal. Here's one more idea as we close. I have used the page background picker underneath this side panel here. If you click on the open page settings, it looks like a little gear. One of the options is to change the page background. Be sure you're on page and not entire document, because the document will then put this grid background on everything. I used the Media Bank Asset option and scrolled forward to G for grid until I found the grid that matches the page size that I have indicated in my document. Just so you know, there's also handwriting guides, dotted lines, cross-hatch grids, lots of them available here, so you might want to explore what those look like and if it matches the background that you're needing for your classroom or for your activity. To insert it, you simply click the select this image, and here you'll see my background has changed. But now the line tools can be used on top of it, so now you can create lines. There's also a grid option in the widgets you might consider using for this type of an activity. But now with inking tools over the top, and then you can also use lines to connect different items if you wish. So now it's your turn. What ideas or creative applications can you come up with for using the drawing tools as part of instruction or learning? Thank you for viewing this instructional video on Easy Teach Next Generation Drawing Tools.